Hi there, my name is Björnar. I run this YouTube channel here where I talk about music production and a lot of the technical aspects around it. Synthesizers, music gear, plugins, software, marketing, all that stuff. So I think that a lot of you watching this channel is into music production as a profession, or maybe it's something you just like to do on the side as a hobby or kind of a semi side gig thing. Maybe you're interested in gear, computers, synthesizers like I am, but you don't have it as a job, but at some point maybe far down the road you would like to have it as a profession or at least a side thing. Then I think asking yourself the question if you would still do this if you earned nothing it's a question that really makes you think. So when I looked at certain things I do on the side of my main day job, my kind of side hustle, this thing here, do I want to do this little part? And the answer here is no. I think it's time to consider some changes, and that's why I wrote up this little thing and want to talk to you about that today. There's another question here also which is, would you keep doing this if all your financial issues was taken care of? So that means you have all the resources in the world and you didn't have to work to sustain yourself. You could do whatever you wanted. Would you still be doing what you do now? Would you still be sitting here producing music, or would I still be producing videos like this? Pretty powerful questions, and maybe they are a little unfair, because the brutal reality is not often like this. Most people need to do something to sustain yourself. Sometimes it's something you probably don't like to do, and that's unfortunately how it has to be sometimes. That's why it's called work. Maybe you want to do this music production thing or something along those lines because you like it, but it gives you less financial freedom compared to a normal job. But if that's something you truly enjoy, maybe it's worth pursuing anyway. Having goals are important, but I think a lot of people are too focused and too hard on themselves on the way to the end goal and not the journey towards the goal. I mean, what if you reach your goal after 10 to 15 years, after sacrificing a lot? You sacrifice family time, sacrifice kids' time, sacrifice your sleep, maybe you sacrifice your health. I have certainly not been living up to that. What if you are not happy when you eventually get to your goal? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about trying to be happy while you work against that goal? I think that if some of these things I talked at the beginning of this video would happen to me, I mean, if you have unlimited resources, things like that, I think I would still produce music, because I truly enjoy the process of finding some strange, cool sound on a synthesizer and try to bake it into something that people might enjoy listening to. I like the process of it, and I mean, I think it's fun. That's why I do it. And I still think I would, of course, work with music if I was set financially. And if you don't enjoy the process of working towards reaching your goal, I think getting to that goal is probably not going to make you that happy. I'm not a licensed therapist or something, but I think that. And I think you should try to adjust what you do. No, I'm not saying that people shouldn't have goals, but it's important, for me at least, to have fun or enjoy the process with what I'm doing right now. The end is coming anyway. It's not really that important for me anymore. It's not about getting something more. It's not going to make me more happy. It's working on the now instead. I am so fortunate that I already have a house, I have healthy, mostly family, kids. I have a car. I mean, what more could you want? Very personal, of course. I totally respect other people having other goals. Certainly, of course I do that. But that's why I have reduced the time I spend producing and submitting music to libraries, for example, to a minimum, because it feels like work, you know. Again, nothing wrong with that, but I already have a job, and so that my side gig here has to be enjoyable and fun as possible, at least in my opinion. At some point it would be cool to have the things I do here on the side to be able to sustain myself 100%. It is certainly possible, but I mean, I have no rush in reaching that goal at the moment, so that's not why I'm actively working that much against it. So if I'm going to do something music related other than releasing my music for Spotify and other DSPs and working on my artist brand, it would probably try to focus getting into sync, but I know that it's hard work and I think you have to be 100% motivated to be successful into that. Slower growth is fine by me. In all aspects of society, there's always about the bottom line. How can we squeeze more water out of a stone? How can we optimize something to be 0.1% more effective? That stress is something that I ideally want to move away from as much as possible, because I think it's ultimately unsustainable, in my opinion at least. And I think this is also why we see a lot of these big YouTubers burn out or take breaks, because you're just doing too much. I think maybe it's best to figure out how you can survive and be happy on less. Make sure you invest some of the stuff you earn in useful things like mutual funds or something like that, investments, so you can sustain yourself if things go sideways. And after a few decades, people will most likely not remember you or me anyway, so yeah, I think slowing down is not necessarily wrong. Take this video for example. This video I'm recording now is probably not going to do that great on this channel at all. I mean, if I wanted to grow my channel with the video I make here now faster, I should actually sit here and talk about the latest Apple rumor instead, because I mean, more people are interested in that. And or I should perhaps make a video optimizing my PC, see if I can squeeze some more performance out of it in terms of music production. 2 videos I'm actually going to make, but at some point, but I kind of feel like doing this video at the moment. If I had to rely more on a side gig to sustain myself, let's say I get unemployed next week, I don't think I will, but you never know. You would perhaps see more changes to this channel. I would perhaps talk about more technical stuff, more reviews, more synthesizers, things like that, because it gives more views, and more views, I mean, grows the channel faster, and in turn also increases the revenue, of course. And if you lose your job, you are more dependent on income, of course. But the thing is, I think talking about Apple PC related stuff is interesting, so it would actually be fine by me. And you need to do something to sustain yourself, and if it can be something that interests you, I think that's awesome. That's so great with YouTube, and you can just sit down and talk about whatever and it will resonate with at least some people. Also, I'm not saying that you should refrain from doing stuff because you don't like to do it, because sometimes you just have to, but try to think of the stuff you do in the context of those 2 questions I talked about in the beginning of this video. If you feel like you have to do changes, you don't have to do drastic changes. You can maybe do some small adjustments, see what happens. Are you more satisfied? Okay, well, maybe try to make a little harder adjustment. Just try out and see what happens, and maybe you will also see things in another light. If you ask older people their biggest regrets in life, a lot of they say they actually did too much chasing money, isn't it? They didn't slow down, they didn't perhaps take care of themselves or their family, loved ones, and I think it's wise to listen to older folks. They have lived a bit longer than we have, and they usually have some experience. That's all for this philosophical corner today. A bit unusual video for this channel perhaps, but yeah, that's what I wanted to say in this video. Take care, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.